Hello and welcome back to this look into Give Me God of War. We're here where we left off on these greasy, unappealing shores of the Iron Cove. Our Kratos, if you remember, is level 1 dude. We have a tough fight ahead of us. We had just gotten killed here. This is the first Brazier fight. Well, you can do them in any order. We're doing this one first. This is arguably this is probably the hardest one. If I was smart, I'd save this one for last, but because of my baffling decision to just go clockwise around the lake, here we are. So this one's tough because it's a really confined space. You just don't have much breathing room and things can get out of hand rather quickly. So yeah, we have all of our axe skills unlocked except Freezing Burst, and as far as shield combat, we only have Agile Strike right now. I think I'm saving up XP.
Here, boy.
So at the beginning of this fight, I often like to go over here and try to catch this guy with an axe throw as he's coming out of the ground. If you catch people as they're emerging, you kind of send them flying, and sometimes you can get a cheap ring out there if you get the angle right. Didn't get it that time, but already I'm poisoned. Poison in this game, obviously you take gradual damage over time, but one of its main scary effects in Give Me God of War mode is it effectively lowers your rank by 1, lowers your level by 1. So all enemies basically hit you harder and take less damage from you. And attacks that maybe you were parry only become unblockable, and some normal attacks become parry only. Here, I just didn't see that guy, I guess. I don't know, I just walked right into him. It can be frustrating watching your gameplay here. I'm going for a pretty risky juggle, demonstrating what I said about the dangers of boss rush and how you just get it in your blood to try to juggle everyone every chance you get. But I got away with it there and got a little ring out. So we have like 1 hit point at this point. Things are not going great, but we're still alive. Atreus is going buck wild. He's pulling more than his fair share of the weight here. I think he goes a little extra aggro when you're really hurt, so he's panicking. Here in the middle of the fight, I decide to completely throw off any rhythm I might have had, but I want to buy block break because I see these are shield guys and I'd like to use it on them. But of course, immediately, I think this guy uses his block break on me. I have trouble with those shield guys. I used to play Modern Warfare 2 way back in the day, and sometimes I'd throw on the riot shield. And in that game, no one ever used the riot shield. It was very unusual, so it was always fun. Players just didn't know how to react. They would just like panic and do the weirdest stuff. They just didn't know what to do about you. And that's me in this game. Sometimes when I face shield guys, I'm just like, I just play super tentatively and end up getting rocked. One effective thing you can do against shield guys, and I don't do it here, but Agile Strike, that lunging uppercut to the body shield combat move that I talked about in the last episode, that's actually a pretty effective block breaker, an unofficial one, and sometimes a little safer to do than block break because you can do it from far away, so they don't have a chance to hit you first. And what happens is, like, you hit them and they lose their balance and lose their blocking. You fall off balance a little bit, but you usually recover in time to hit them again while they're still struggling. So I wish I had footage of that, but it's a cool move. Here, Atreus again is MVP of this fight, but it's very messy, but it seems to be working out here. Here you'll see I want to use block break so bad, but I keep doing it and it just hitting the guy in front of the shield guy. And finally, yay, we get a successful block break. So, always gratifying when you get to use the move you just unlocked. For the first Brazier fight, we get the Versatile Warriors handle, which is a pretty good early game handle. And the subsequent Brazier fights, like this is the second one, I'll give you upgrade materials for that handle. So yeah, second Brazier fight here, much, I think, easier. I mean, it can be hard when you don't know what's going on, but for me, that first one is definitely the hardest one. This one is just a bunch of these blueberry slurpee projectile guys. So you don't want to sort of get in the middle like I'm doing here, making the excellent decision to juggle this guy against a wall in between two projectile guys. So. Again, the dangers of Frost Rush and always wanting to juggle everyone. Here you can tell I've got all this pent-up juggling energy, but the guy dissolves before I get a chance to even hit him. Here, this is interesting. You can see this surviving guy. These guys are not immune to being frozen. That axe throw successfully frosted him, which is sort of surprising given that these guys are filled with slurpee material. And also you see how fragile these guys are, even though they're like, that guy was level 4, but because they're projectile guys, they're just very squishy. So there we've got some more upgrade materials for the Versatile Warrior's Axe, which I cleverly decide not to go back to Brock and use right away. Here's the third Brazier Island. This is not the Brazier fight, these guys are just the guard dogs. Here we see these double axe wielding draugr are really susceptible to stuns. I think Atreus got the final lick in there that stunned him. Sometimes I think of what would the game be like without Atreus there, like where Kratos can kind of like fling arrows to interrupt enemies, sort of like the throwing stars in Ninja Gaiden or the guns in Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. And then he also has sort of like this like chaos field around him where enemies close enough to him, they'll just like occasionally their pants will just like fall down, they'll trip or get stuck, that they just have bad luck. And that's Atreus for you. He's like your little chaos field. Here we saw again how far those guys went. That guy went flying when I caught him with the axe. This second Brazier fight, or third Brazier fight, is a lot more manageable than the first couple. It's just these 3 generic sort of slurpy guys. We'll see more continuing juggles using Twirling Storm there. And then a couple of these crown guys come out of the ground. Notice that, these guys are immune to the axe, but if you catch them with it while they're emerging, they still go flying. They don't take damage, but... We're gonna give this guy a little beatdown, and coming up here, I'm gonna do a bunch of like agile strikes in a row right here. People found out if you hold the left trigger, the aim button, it sort of cancels the recovery animation for agile strike. So you can use that to just sort of spam it over and over. Let's talk about this fight. So this is going pretty good so far. I've got everyone in a line here, and then I just make the really dumb decision. I see the guy near the edge and decide I'll just go for him. He's near the edge. Like, I should have just kept pushing those guys towards him, but instead I put myself in the middle, and failed to ring out the guy. Back off. I'm just playing like so sort of tentatively, and then here's more questionable juggling. I decide maybe I can get away with it, and almost do, but my movement during that juggle was in the path that their projectiles were going to go, so it didn't work out very well. If I had been moving perpendicular to their fire, I might have gotten away with it. Take 2 here, and more ignoring my flanks and paying the price for it. Didn't think those guys were that close to me. Take 3, and definitely have not learned my lesson. I'm just like totally playing on tilt here. Yeah, definitely go for this guy in the middle. That's a great move. And I'm just executed by a slurpee firing squad. So this fight is not this bad. I'm making it look a lot worse than it needs to be. So here, this is a great illustration of what a difference sort of good positioning can make. Getting everyone in a line in front of you. And we look over and wow, those guys are gone. Damn, that went pretty well. I think Atreus helped us out with knocking them out, but you know what, we'll take it. Here's our second Realm Tear, and already I've just knocked one of the enemies out by doing a really cheap Executioner's Cleave into the Realm Tear as it's opening. So this fight is 2 of these turbo boot draugr, light draugrs, and 1 heavy, all over our level. They're all level 4, and these light guys, as we've seen, we can't trip them or launch them with normal means, but we can do our trick, our little Executioner's Cleave trick, which is knock them down with Executioner's Cleave, and then see if we can juggle them out. We just got to get them over towards the edge. So there's Executioner's Cleave, Frost Rush into juggle, and voila, a nice little ring out of a level 4 guy. Now we've just got this level 4 draugr, which, you know, we know what to do here. We've got his timing down in theory. Just gotta not let him hit us, and we should be alright. But yeah, these fights seem sort of a lot worse if you don't know the trick for dealing with some of these over-leveled guys. Over-leveled guys that ordinarily you can knock prone, but you can't because they're too high level. So there's our first Realm Tear done. The second one we've tried, but first one we've successfully done. And continuing on clockwise to this little outpost. Here we're going to meet our 3rd Revenant, and yeah, you guessed it, we are not going to fight or fair. There's a Rage Burst to ring out, and this is funny. If you look at the dialogue, Kratos and Atreus are discussing like how fast she moves and how Atreus needs to hit her with those arrows. Meanwhile, she's just long dead. So we've done 3 of the 4 Brazier fights. A smart thing to do would be to do those all, in a row, and that way you can fully upgrade that. I think you can fully upgrade the Versatile Warrior's handle, but that's not what I do. I save the last one for sort of the last thing I do in this lake, but we do upgrade the handle here as much as we can. I make a second mistake, which is I warped back to Brock's shop, forgetting that our next stop in our clockwise tour of the lake is Veithurgard, and then he has a shop here, as we'll see shortly. So, yeah, we're here to do this favor for the spirit. This is great coming up. So, my favorite wolves. I had so much trouble with these guys. But here's another illustration of good positioning, the power of good positioning. So here we get maybe the greatest baseball swing of all time. Pretty much killing 3 enemies with that. I mean, 3 are gone now after that follow-up Evaldi's Anvil, and this guy's pretty hurt, so yes, I'd say that went pretty well. Please remember that next time I'm struggling and dying over and over in what looks like a really trivial fight. And this wolf, I knew he was there, but he got me anyway. These wolves, man. Telling you. So yeah, like I was saying, might have been a better idea to finish off the brazier stuff before coming in here. But that's just not what we're doing today. So this little island is guarded by a couple high-level enemies. This guy's at level 5, dual-wielding draugr. So he's instant death for us. We can't block his attacks or anything, but, you know, you guessed it. We can put him down, little executioner's cleave, and juggle. Or it's a little more efficient if you can juggle him over into the water over there. But I didn't have an angle, so I thought maybe I could wear him down before this other guy becomes a problem. And we do end up getting away with it. So now we just have a level 4 draugr. So we know what to do here. We just dealt with one of those. Although my typical great timing, I'm pretty hurt here. If he gets us again, we're dead. So I think I get fairly conservative here and just start having Atreus have my, like, I don't know, 10, 12-year-old son fire arrows into the sky while I try to stab him in the back. Okay, this is Father of the Year material, definitely. But, you know, the boy loves it. He's loving this. It's a grand adventure. So now we can we took over this island from a couple enemies that, for us, are pretty high level, a 5 and a 4. And we're back to the spirit to reclaim our reward. For our troubles, we get the Grip of Tangiast, which I don't use in this series because we can't upgrade it right away, but it's an incredibly good grip. It's purple level and it has some unique properties. We also get materials to make Tears Lost Unity gauntlets, which are quite good early level gloves, and thanks to those we're going up a level. We're going to be level 2. Here we're unlocking the first stance change attack, Guardian's Revenge. And now we're back to Veithurgard to free us a dragon.
Do you hear that?
A lot of enemies in this fight. There's like 3 heavy draugr and this normal draugr and a couple of those turbo boot guys. So far so good. We've got people sort of lined up in front of us, but I was playing pretty aggressively and didn't notice that draugr gave me a little poke. So take 2.
Do you hear that?
Here we see, coming up, I think, see some more questionable juggling decision making on this guy. I'm thinking, well, I can get away from these guys if I put enough movement in, but then I run into a roadblock there and sort of pay the price. But we're not too hurt. coming up here. Watch, I failed to trip this guy. I threw the axe blade. It has to be a horizontal throw to trip people. It can't be a follow-up to a precision throw, which you always throw vertically. Now we're back to our favorite, the old 2 draugr problem. So we'd like to get the one that's not elite yet. Get him out of here before he goes elite. Very fortunate timing. And here we luck out and catch him. When Atreus hops on someone's back like that, it's they take more damage. I don't remember if I said this already. They take more damage and their hit reactions increase. Sometimes you can bounce enemies that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to bounce. Oh, I just probably missed it because I fast forwarded through it, but I ran over really quickly to the travel gate and didn't go through it, but just touched it long enough to get my health back.
Ready and wait.
Here, this poison tasselworm. We're gonna see right there. Seems to be a little glitch in his animation when I do this. The stance change attack right here, this uppercut, he just doesn't react at all, and then I do the follow-up and he's up in the air. So I never noticed that before. I don't use that attack very often. I usually do the other stance change attack in shield combat, Guardian's Fury, but we don't have that one unlocked yet. So, and here we've made it to Sony Santa Monica's little tribute to Demon Souls and Dark Souls. The Chuck E. Cheese animatronic dragon that's very mad at a hallway. There is probably the easiest fight we'll see all game. Draugr that with about 3 axe throws worth of energy in him. You're gonna get a little too cute and decide to try to let the dragon breath kill this guy. Not really understanding how little damage it does to them. More of a stun effect than a damage thing. And this elite is already coming towards us. Fortunately, he's elite, so I can't stick my axe into him. So we don't have to wait as long for the dragon breath to kill him. And slightly mistimed that. Took a little damage from the breath. Sort of a tough angle on this guy. But the automatic axe is helping me out a little bit.
A chained dragon? My mother used to tell me stories. Can we help?
And this guy is interesting. I don't know what his deal is here. You see, we're able to trip him. He's at 4 purple bar draugr. Does it seem to be a projectile guy? Like his hand isn't lit up, but his hit reactions are so exaggerated. Very curious. It's like maybe he's been in that little cubby hole so long his muscles have all atrophied. Poor guy. Here we are, our first dragon key fight. These can be nasty because it's just, they tend to be in such a confined area and there's all this AoE going off. All these area of effect lightning pools. It's easy to sort of let things get out of hand even though there aren't too many enemies in them. this guy, his final act is to explode and help us destroy this dragon key. I think he had a change of heart. You're one of the good ones, buddy. Here, watch the foot on the right of this guy. It totally connects with the face of the guy behind him and interrupts him from spoiling our fun with that juggle. So another little illustration of like the benefits of getting people lined up and moving the camera around to your advantage. I should mention in that tips video that I talked about in the previous videos, and I'll link to here, one of the tips is about camera settings. Some of the default settings are, I think, worth turning off or changing around. You have an easier time with some of the stuff we're doing here. This little area has a lot of health pickups in those little graves. Oh, this is great. I totally didn't see that guy until he's standing right next to me. Great, like
Not very many graves here.
vintage horror movie.
Been a small settlement.
Yeah, as I said, a lot of these like little tombstones in this area have health inside of them, which is a great message for the kids. Remember, kids always desecrate graves. It could be goodies inside. Anyway, we're gonna stop this video here in beautiful downtown Veithurgard. This has been a sort of a long one. That was a long sequence without much fast forwarding. So I'll see you guys in the next one.
This one! It sounded like a headache. No!